Hi guys, it's Orange Tech here. You see, at one point in my student years, my iPad basically replaced my laptop, and let me tell you why. Because as an industrial designer, this thing has been my everything. My sketchbook, my notebook, my gaming console, and even my backup power bank when my iPhone dies on trips. And the crazy part is I never realized how much the iPad literally meant to me until I looked back and saw how this thing has been with me throughout my design project, throughout my lectures, throughout everything that I needed it for, and even for late night entertainment like Netflix before I go to bed. But today I'm just gonna break down how I use the iPad on a daily basis and also why I still use the iPad M2 chip in 2025. The iPad Pro M2 has somehow become one of my most valuable devices, even as an ex-student who graduated 1 year ago. During my studies, I noticed I kept reaching out for the iPad a little bit more than my laptop at the time. Yes, I do have a $3,000 PC right now, go check that video. But in those times, the reasons were super simple. I mean, it was fast, it was flexible, and it just fits into my workflow overall. I could sketch out ideas the moment they popped into my head, take clean digital notes, and the best part is I never lost them like I did with the traditional notebooks. Everything just stayed backed up and organized. And to be honest, that's actually huge because as an industrial designer, idea comes and goes fast, and if you don't capture them directly, they kind of vanish. So the iPad in that case has been a capturing moment, a safety net for me to be able to capture those ideas in real time. And I've been rocking the iPad Pro M2, and let me tell you that this thing has been serving me well until this day. And the M2 chip is still a beast, still fast, still reliable. And honestly, unless you need that cutting edge technique, you might just be as good as skipping the M3 and the M4 models because they might just be too much. Or else, if you have the budget, you feel like this is something you do want to go for, then hey, why not? Go for it. But for me, I'm still gonna rock the M2 because first of all, it's reliable, it's capable, and also it's super cheap. But unless somebody sends me a M4, till then, I'm just gonna keep on rocking the M2. And I know that me talking about the iPad is mostly from my experience, but there are also studies that shows that the iPad helps students with way more than you and I would ever think of. In a longitudinal study following medical and dental students who use the iPads throughout their education, notes taking on the iPad was one of the most frequent reported use. I mean, these students said that annotation, drawing, highlighting, and even organizing digital notes helped them process and personalize learning materials, and having their notes always at hand became the key advantage, which is really good. Interestingly, as they moved into clinical settings, iPad note-taking kind of declined. Well, that is partly because of resistance from instructors and logistical issue in the real-world environment. Yeah, understandable. And what that really shows is that the benefit of the iPad is real as long as you use it smartly, integrate it early, and kind of adapt to your workflow to avoid pitfalls. Because yeah, you know, sometimes you just don't want to use a device. And honestly, what makes the iPad shine even more now is the iPadOS 26. Apple really stepped up with the update, which in my case, I have been enjoying every single second. I mean, multitasking is way smoother than ever. I can have my sketch on one side and my reference image or YouTube on the other. And also the new background visuals make using the iPad a little bit more fresh, inspiring, almost like you're in a new creative space. Even little things like the redesign of camera and the improved Notes app just push the whole experience forward. Notes taking especially has been fantastic, and also with handwriting recognition, I can still search all my messy notes and find what I'm looking for. I mean, it's one of those updates that doesn't just feel cosmetic, it genuinely makes the iPad more useful in many cases. And also there's so many tips that really helps me to boost my workflow, and some of them are quick notes with Apple Pen is just one of them. Anytime I swipe from the corner up, you get a sticky notes that is ready to capture ideas, no excuses to forget anything. I just write down my ideas and boom. The other one is Stage Manager for multitasking. It's not perfect, but if you're juggling multiple apps, it's a lifesaver. And third just has to be external monitor mode, because connecting the iPad to a monitor basically turns it into a mini desktop. For design work or even just writing script, everything feels like next level. And I know that not everybody has a budget for iPad accessories, but if you actually actually do, then here are some of the things I think are super worth it. The right accessories can transform the iPad to a whole new level, and for me, an iPad case is non-negotiable because of how thin the iPad is, and the chances of you literally dropping the iPad is super high. That is where cases like the MOFT Origami case comes in, because it's super lightweight, folds into different angles, and the magnets are just crazy strong. I literally stick this on any metal surface, especially when I'm cooking to get that recipe, and also on my fridge just to write down anything I need for the house. And to be honest, it holds up. And then there's the Apple Pencil 2, my everyday driver. If you're sketching or notes taking, then you know this is essential. Like, the precision on the Apple Pencil 2 is just insane. And when you pair it with a paper-like screen protector, I mean, writing just feels super natural. And this is what I use when I'm at school because, yeah, it's just the best way to go. And then when it comes down to keyboard, I don't really think you need the Magic Keyboard. Yes, it's great and all that, but it's still expensive. Any Bluetooth keyboard works, and once you connect one, your iPad suddenly feels like a mini computer. I don't know how to explain this, but you kind of unlock another side of it, which is just amazing. Suddenly everything feels faster, you can use shortcuts more, and just writing in general feels super great. Look, back in school when lecture was over, half of the class would just stay behind to play games. Look, my iPad was always with me because my laptop was too bulky for me to carry to school, so I would just sit back, relax, play Call of Duty, Resident Evil, and just chat with the guys. Now these days when I'm playing, I just play things super casual like Immortals, or I just hop on Xbox Cloud Gaming because, yeah, it's also good, but you still need a good internet for that. But trust me, the iPad literally handles everything super well. Not only the fact that I could play games on the iPad, there were also different apps that basically help me on a daily basis, because as an industrial designer, capturing ideas before they disappear is everything. I use apps like Procreate for quick sketches, and then Shaper 3D when I want to see the concept in 3D, and then sometimes I even print out the design just to see if there's something that could be changed. For content creation, I use apps like ChatGPT for scripting and also for idea generation. And I use this app called Monitor Plus. It's super nice when I'm filming. It helps me to frame my shots and also have controls over my settings. I can change the shutter speed, the ISO, the white balance, all that stuff in case I want to. This app has been super nice and super reliable for me. Another app I normally use is Photoshop because this literally helps me render and polish my photos. Anything I take from my 3D sketch to my rendering software, I finish them off with Photoshop. And something else I have been trying to learn is using DaVinci Resolve on my iPad. It's a little bit weird, but it's capable. So yeah, the iPad isn't just a work device. I mean, it's my organizer, my notes taker, my gaming console, my sketch pad. I mean, everything you can think of, and sometimes even my phone charger. This thing has been helping me charge my iPhone 15 Pro Max whenever it dies on trips. It has also helped me stay creative, stay organized, and honestly, it has been one of the best investments I've made as a student and even now after graduating, because look, this thing is a beast. Look, I do feel like the iPad is one of those devices that is only good as what you actually do with it. I mean, back in school, I used to use the iPad for almost everything: notes taking, prototyping, entertainment, I mean, even capturing memories. And now as a graduated designer, it's still one of my most reliable tools. So if you're a student or a creative who is wondering if the iPad is actually worth it, I would say yes. But if you're ready to build it to its full potential by getting the Apple Pencil, the Magic Keyboard, well, it's not that cheap, but it still pays itself back by how much you actually use it. Anyway, this has been my honest take on how the iPad has been a game changer for me. And if you feel like this is something that relates to you, drop a like or subscribe to the channel. It would be a super good help. Anyhow, I'll see you guys next week.